Welcome to Now You're Playing with Podcast, episode 17. My wife's friend James sent her a message a little bit ago and tipped us off to this really cool store that popped up over in Hilliard called Warp Zone. So we decided to go and check it out, and it was actually really cool. It was amazing. I haven't been to a store like this in a really long time. Actually, I haven't been to a store like this since Game Junkie from the episode we had with Scott on not too long ago. But went in, checked it out. Owner was super nice. There's all kinds of like really rare stuff. There's some really cool import stuff. We spent like $250, $260, something like that. I just came home with like bags of like import games, all kinds of just amazing things. It was really cool. It was refreshing. It was really refreshing to check it out. What's really cool about it is as I'm going through and looking at everything, I hit this section where they have a whole bunch of import Dreamcast, and it really reminded me of back when I first started collecting, and Chris and I would go out and check out all the import Dreamcast stuff, and we're really kind of like starting our collection. When we started, we used to go and we would hit like almost every store in town in one day and just, go on like these big shopping trips, which kind of leads us into the topic of today's show. This is Tatton, and today we're going to be talking about video game stores. We did a giant trip. Chris and Becky, Steven and I went, and we hit about 14 stores in town. And throughout the day, we talked about what makes a good video game store, what makes a bad video game store, and kind of talked about just, some of the stuff we got. Unfortunately, Steve couldn't hang out for the rest of the podcast, but Chris and I just kind of recapped the whole day. And I gotta say, on the topic of bad game stores, there's going to be some kind of awkward edits in this episode. I personally had some pretty bad experiences at Ultimate Video Game Connection, and as we talked about on the podcast, I was probably a little more negative and a little more aggressive than I needed to be, and decided that, in the interest of fairness, I should probably kind of censor myself. So there's going to be some awkward edits when we start talking about those, just because I cut some things out. So if it sounds kind of awkward, it's just me redacting what I was saying in a handful of things. That's probably not fair because they're probably isolated incidents, but at the same time, I was kind of fired up, and I figured, probably take the high road. So anyway, episode 17. Enjoy.
Now you're playing with podcast.
Welcome to Now You're Playing with Podcast, episode 17, the big game field day. So this is Tatton.
This is Chris.
And we had Steve with us today, but he had to bolt, so the two of us are going to recap the giant, pretty much game shopping day we went today. We hit how many stores?
14
different stores in the span of about 8 hours, and just looking to grab some stuff for our collection, boost some stuff up. And while we were out and hitting all the different stores run by a lot of different people, a lot of different companies, kind of brought up, a lot of thoughts about what's a good game store, what's a bad game store, and just kind of stuff we're looking for. So we're just going to kind of recap the day.
Yeah, we try not to go too collector-ish, but that's kind of hard to avoid with our big hunting thing. But I think we're going to comment on stores and employees and owners and the state of the biz, as you will, because we found some interesting observations today, and we'll get into that. So first, if you're familiar with Columbus, I live near the Westerville area in the northwest side of town. And then there's a freeway, I-270, that circles the city. So our general plan of attack was to start in our part of town and take 270 clockwise all the way around. We only got about halfway around the loop before it was time for dinner, and we got tired, but we hit 14 stores. But that was the general plan of attack, and I think in a couple of weeks we're going to hit the rest of the places ahead of my list that we didn't hit today. But our first stop was at Buybacks. Buybacks is a semi-national chain. I think they're kind of sporadically all over the place. I think they're in Ohio and Texas and Michigan and weird wherever. I don't know their plan of attack, but it's a chain. They buy anything electronic. They buy anything media. They use the TAM system. If you've listened to our previous episodes about game store and working at game stores, which base their price off Amazon prices. But we found some discrepancies even within the stores, and they're making a bigger presence in Columbus. And You find some good stuff there, and you find some ridiculous stuff there.
Yeah, it's the kind of place where the prices are so all over the board that you really can't go there and expect to know what you're going to find. I mean, it's a total crapshoot.
They like to hire and fire people pretty regularly too, so don't fall in love with a good employee there because they'll probably be fired within a month. What did I pick up there? I found Mortal Kombat 3 for the PlayStation in the long box. I've never seen this game out in the wild, and this is actually in really good shape. Finding any long box PlayStation games in good shape is a rarity, and it was $15, which is a fair price. Not great, not terrible.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
What else? I picked up Seen It for the 360, the Box Office Smash Edition. I'm a fan of those stupid buzzer trivia games because it's something that I can play with non-video gamer friends. That was $11. What else did I get from there? I'm looking through my pile of things. Not that.
That was all of it at your first stop, wasn't it?
I guess. Yeah, not important.
Yeah, my pickup from there was also pretty basic. I picked up my kind of goal for the day was to build some more Genesis stuff, just because I always give Chris a hard time about being a big Sega fan. So I'm like, well, let's really kind of dive in and get some more Sega stuff. And I went on a big spending trip that last weekend, and so I also put a big spending cap on for the day. And so I'm like, well, if I can't buy a whole lot, I'll buy a bunch of Genesis stuff so it'll be cheap because nobody wants it. Get my jabs in.
That's no longer the case, but it's getting pretty rare for anything younger than 2000 to be found in a store anymore.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I picked up. They were doing buy two get one free on cartridges, and I picked up Bonanza Brothers, Fantasia, and Bubsy 2 because I'm a glutton for punishment.
Bubsy 2, Electric Boogaloo.
It's just funny because I picked up Bubsy 1 last week at the other store.
Wait, no. What could possibly go wrong?
That game is so bad.
Do you have Bubsy 3D?
I don't.
You're missing out, man.
So that was what happened. So, post the flood, as we're unpacking everything, we're testing all the systems, and, I had a Genesis growing up, but Becky didn't. So I'm, pulling games out for it. I'm like, oh, you gotta try a Bubsy game. And I go to grab one off the shelf, and I don't have any Genesis ones. So then I go to Super Nintendo, I don't have any Super Nintendo ones. So then I, hit RF Gen, I don't have any at all. Which was kind of shocking, because as a kid, I actually kind of liked Bubsy. It was I played it more than once, and I didn't hate it. I didn't like it as much as Mario.
That was the first clone, the first Sega clone. There's a bunch of them in that time. But I think that was the first one I remember, and that's we rented it, and I told myself to like it because I was believing the hype, but yeah, it was bad. But it got worse. It started off bad, but not it started off mediocre. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't the worst game ever.
Yeah, the controls weren't bad. It's just it was trying to be Sonic Attitude.
It was Poochie.
And it was awful.
From The Simpsons. You remember, everybody remembers Poochie. That's
Yep.
older than 20. The phony attitude and the skateboarding, rapping, whatever. Yeah, the exclamation T-shirt. Come on, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, and then if you let him sit for too long, then he'd snark at you and stuff like that.
Right.
It was lame, but it wasn't horrible. But
no, it started off.
It's not good either.
No. But its reputation got worse. The games got worse. Worse than Alex Kidd, definitely.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. It's on the same lines of another one of my awful favorites, which is Super Alfred Chicken.
Yeah, or Punky Skunk.
Yeah, or what are the other ones from?
Blah blah blah.
Is it Awesome Possum?
Radical Rex, Awesome Possum, Arrow the Acrobat. Then you had Cool Spot, which is actually decent. I think we've gone over this before, but maybe we'll have a mascot Olympics one of these episodes and play a bunch of these and make fun of them at will. It's March Madness. This would have been the perfect time for that.
Yeah, this would have been perfect. Could have made a big...
the Sweet 16 of shitty mascots.
We could have put all the awful mascots together into a bracket and picked winners.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if our podcast is still alive next March, then we know what we're doing.
Deal. Hopefully remember that.
right,
then
so-
we drove up to.
Well, hold on. Before we leave this buybacks, I do have to say we've talked about this before.
oh yeah,
in
our game
very
of
first
find the most
episode.
expensive game. Yes.
Yeah, this is a store where we try to find the most ridiculously overpriced game, and it because we hit lots of buybacks. There's a big pool to pick from, and I actually won. I'm going to claim that I won today because I think today's was the most ridiculous.
You have the good phone on your camera, or phone. You have the good camera on your phone.
Something along those lines.
Broadcasting professionalism.
That's right.
Yeah, my phone's ancient. So what did you find?
Yeah, so it was for the GameCube. It was 007 Agent Under Fire for $62.99. And what was fantastic about it is
You mean not $6.29?
no, it was $62.99.
You don't mean 62 cents?
No, $62.
Wait.
99 cents.
Wait. Not $6.
Not 62.
No, there's a typo in
hundredths
there.
of a cent.
There's a typo in there. It's because they put like the extra tenth of a cent, like a gas station. Is that what that was?
No, it was actually, honest to goodness, $63. And they had like 8 copies of them for $63. So we get to every other buybacks, they're selling it for like less than $3. It was crazy. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, it was.
I'm glad. What?
Like, part of me
That's
almost
not
wanted to
did-
buy
did-
up
I-
every other buyback
Goldeneye
stock of
doesn't
them
even
and
sell
go
for that
sell them
much.
there.
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know what it could have even been like closely related to, but they marked every single one the same way. It wasn't like, one of them was just mismarked. It was literally like all 8 of them they had were $63.
Weird.
It was so bizarre.
Next stop, we went up to Half Price Books up in Westerville. Big fan of Half Price Books. Yeah, not just for video games, which they only just started doing the past couple years.
Yeah,
they got random stuff, and then their pricing is pretty sporadic. But even with their really good stuff, it's not unreasonable.
Yeah, no, their prices are great.
We saw like a Panzer Dragoon Saga there once for $450, but other than that, everything else has been reasonable. And they do coupons every once in a while, and I take my daughter there, and we get kids books a lot, and good movies, and good. It's a good place to just shop in general.
Yeah, for anyone who's never been to a Half Price Books, it's movies, music, books, video games, and then they have like some weird like accessory kind of stuff now, like iPod and iPhone
And
accessories.
they get
things like
lots
that.
of great buyouts of new stuff. I mean, not so much for video games, but lots of computer software buyouts, lots of book buyouts. I love the place. It's true that everyone you go to is different slightly because of what they've got. So it's one of those fun things to do whenever you go to a different city. If they have one in town, it's always worthwhile to make the drive and stop in.
Yeah,
we hit some in Louisville the last one went down there for the show a few weeks ago.
Well, and this time last year we hit we were in Milwaukee on the way back and hit the ones in Indiana, and one of them had an 8-track recorder, which I still think was the coolest thing I saw that whole weekend.
Yeah. No 3D printer, no 8-track recorder. Wow. But I don't think I picked anything up there today though.
No, my wife's a big
Westerville.
Doctor Who fan, so she picked up a bunch of Doctor Who stuff, but I don't think I got anything from there either.
Okay. We made the drive down to Capital Games in Gahanna. This gentleman who owns this place also owns a Ultimate Video Game Connection in Reynoldsburg, kind of close by. I'll tell you what, the employee working there was awesome.
Yeah, and
very
actually,
understanding. They were open on time, unlike other places that we're going to get to, because we got there right at 12 o'clock when they were supposed to open. He saw the car pulling at 5 till, and he opened the door right away. So I love this guy working there. I'll just make my complaints about the store itself. A lot of things are unpriced.
Well, and that's the way he runs it.
Even classic, like I can understand. I mean, they have a whole giant row of PlayStation games. Few of them are priced. Few SNES games are priced. No Genesis games to be seen. That's my little quirk as a collector. I know I'm in the minority, but not to have a single game on the floor where they have a Sega CD section on the floor.
And the stuff that's not priced, like it's not like it's just not priced and they have a binder or something they work off of or they look it up in the computer. Like literally anytime you want something, like they go and find market value and then like mark up the market value.
Right.
Which is
I brought up a copy of Earthworm Jim for the Sega CD. It was missing. It had the instruction booklet, but the instruction booklet was missing the front cover. And on Sega CD games, the front cover of the game is the front cover of the instructions. It's not like a separate booklet. The booklet is the cover of the game. So but so it was a beat up copy of this game, and it was $70. Pretty unreasonable in my book. I probably would have paid $50 for it. It's a $20 piece of paper, but had it been complete, even beat up, I would have probably spent the $70 on it, but I didn't. I also brought up a strategy guide for Legend of Dragoon, the PS1 RPG. Really bad condition.
It was like the front cover was like folded multiple times.
Yeah,
it was all like dog-eared.
It was probably about a 2 or 3 condition out of 5. They wanted $30 for it. I couldn't spend that. I did pick up a GamePro Hot Sports Games book. Nintendo Genesis TurboGrafx 16 sports games, fairly thick, for $5. A little novelty there. So I'm not going to refuse to spend money at this place. I'm not that vindictive of the guy. I'm not going to say I dislike this guy or dislike that guy. I like the employee. I like the big selection. I wish that they just had more stuff and had their shit together a little bit better. That's all I'll have to say about that place. More negative attitudes were talked about in the car between the two locations. But yeah. Did you end up getting anything there?
No, I didn't. No. I was looking at a couple things, and it was just way too expensive, so right. I bailed. And then
I think Darren used to own. Darren was my old boss at Play It when I worked there way back before my daughter was born. He was a good enough guy, I guess, but he got bought out. Then at the Ultimate Video Game Connection, I picked up Domino Rally for the Nintendo Wii for $5. So again, I'm not above spending money at places. I just like having price tags. I like nice employees, which they had there. Knowledgeable people, which they had there. But that, especially the Reynoldsburg store, they got a gigantic store square footage wise, but about a third of the space, you think, is in the back room. I mean, they have a ton of storage space there, and they could use that for actual store space instead of storage space and have more product on the floor, but they don't for whatever reason.
My guess is if they had more product on the floor, they wouldn't have the time to be able to price it. So it's easier to not let people look at it.
Not pricing lots of things that I'm interested in.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, the employees were really nice at both of them, but...
We love good employees.
Like I said, I hate the fact that the stuff's not priced, because, I asked for, prices on 3 Super Nintendo games, and took like 15 minutes to, for them to go and find out market value and mark them up and whatever else. Chris wanted the Earthworm, and, it took him like 7 minutes to get the owner on the phone to find out, what he wanted. And then, to the kid's credit, like, he was trying to argue with the owner, like, look, the condition's really bad. And the owner was like, no, $63, whatever. Which,
their loss, not mine.
Yeah, exactly, so.
And all 50 of you listening have heard it here first. Then we went up Reynoldsburg and stopped at Games on Main. Their hours are posted 1:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. I know it's pretty tough getting up at noon on a Saturday and all. So we got there about 25 after, thinking, they'll be open in 5 minutes or so, and we stuck around about 10 minutes. They weren't open yet, so we went down the street to the buybacks, about 3 blocks away. I see. This is the thing about buybacks. They're expanding, and whatever they're doing, I don't know what happened today. We were just bitching about the expensive games. This particular location, their prices were a lot more reasonable for some reason. Yeah, you found that James Bond game for
it's the first one I found price. It for $3.
And I picked up the 2 Boom Blocks games for Wii for $10 each, which is good price, very beyond fair. The guy working there, he was by himself. I asked if I could use the restroom. He let me use the restroom because, a lot of those places aren't going to let you do that. So, thumbs way up for that particular buybacks. I know they just opened, but I hope to hear more good things.
Yeah. I wish I could have gotten that guy's name, because I would have loved to have just said, like, how awesome he was. Because on top of the store being clean and gorgeous, and like all the glass was clean, everything was alphabetical. It was really like if I were filming a promotional video, like one of those awful like training videos, and wanted like the exact layout for how the store should be, like I would use this store. This store was that clean and organized. It was wonderful.
It's kind of funny. Like one of their tagline is the best store in the world, which is pretty fucking hilarious because it's not.
Self-proclaimed.
Yeah, but one of their things is like everything is alphabetized, and you kind of sit back and think, well, that's kind of stupid, but they actually do categorize everything by the proper category and alphabetize everything, and that does make a world of difference when you're looking for a particular title or just browsing. So
yeah, and they're usually pretty good. Some are better than others, but this one was flawless. I mean, it was
one's
really
great.
like, nothing wrong at all. So
then we go back to you picked up stuff.
That's it. Yeah, I picked up the Nintendo Selects version of Mario Super Sluggers for $10. I got Alicia Dragoon for the Genesis for $9. Bust-A-Move 2 for $3 for the N64, and Bust-A-Move 99 for $6 for the N64. So, as much as I complain about N64 kids, I bought N64 games.
Yeah, me too.
I'll wear the hypocrite crown for the day.
I'll tell you why. We picked up replacement joysticks for the N64 off eBay. They're thick-style GameCube joysticks, and it makes a world of difference.
Yeah,
it's an almost
amazing.
playable system now. But the funny thing is, after we stopped at the buybacks there, then we went back to the games on Main, and after 2:00 they still weren't open. So
I also got Pinball Hall of Fame for the PS2 for $2. Sorry.
Yeah, gotta love the $2 games. I love them.
Yeah, no joke.
We made a quick stop. So games on Main not open at 1:30.
No, it was after 1:30.
Yes.
We went back there it was like 1:45, 1:50, something like that. Because we were at the buybacks for a while.
You've always said that when stores start to not be open in their posted hours and start reducing their hours, that they're fucked. They're going to close soon.
Yeah, that is the one trend I have seen. I mean, that happened with one of my favorite stores when I was a kid. I spent. I mean, I really kind of grew up out of that store. I rented stuff from them. All the way back to the Nintendo, all the way up to the N64. Spent a ton of time there. Knew the owners. They'd special order stuff from Japan for me all the time and everything. And so they started cutting their hours back, and I'm like, oh, that's kind of weird. And then I remember one of the days I went there, and there was a sign on the door that said, not open due to a family emergency. Sorry for the inconvenience. And I got really kind of worried about him because I thought something was really wrong. So, I went and I dug up, one of their cell phones, and I called them to make sure everything was okay, see if I could help with anything. And, they took the day off to play EverQuest. And I'm like, that's kind of a problem. Well, and then that sign kept coming back. And it's every time I saw the sign come up, I knew it's just they didn't, want to have the store open. And so, it starts this downward spiral of, it's quiet, so I'm not making any money, so I'm going to close the store. But then, because the store's closed, no one's going to come in to buy anything, so it's not going to make money. And, then I have to cut my hours back, so I'm not making enough money that way. And it's weird. It just sends the store spiraling into closing.
I work a job where I get a lot of vacation time, and we are slow at this time of year, so I understand not wanting to work. But I don't know. I can't explain it. I don't even want to try to speculate or try to put myself in their shoes, but I don't want to lose them.
Yeah, but I mean, the thing is, I don't know how much the rent is in a lot of these places, and I'm assuming they're probably paying their guys place, $8-9 an hour, maybe.
Yeah, if that.
Maybe 10. So if they were,
if they were open with one employee, you could probably be paying under the table too.
Yeah, so, if they were open for 8 hours, let's say that does say $10, that's like $80 in wages and power or whatever. Between the four of us, we would have spent well more than $80. That was our fourth stop of the day. If they had they had the right things in there, we would have blown a bunch of money. And we could have paid for the employee minus the cost they had to put into whatever their used stuff was, which has a lot of markup anyway, just by the nature of the business.
Right.
Not saying anything bad about it, just saying that our visit probably would have paid for them being open for that day, and because they weren't open, they lost out on it. And then they'll probably go back and say we're losing money because no one's coming in, but it's because the store's not open.
1:30 on a Saturday. Come on, how hungover can you be? 9:00 on a Saturday, I'll kind of start to get, but 1:30, come on, Jesus fucking Christ!
So sorry, Games on Main, but
we love you. We want you. We're just worried.
The last time we were there, I mean,
I think we talked the last time we were there. The owner was not there. Some employees were there, and they fucking ignored us, and we didn't buy what we were going to buy because they ignored us for 10 minutes. We were ready to check out.
Yeah, like one of them was playing games in the front, the other one was playing games in the back.
You can't win, man. Next up after that, we stopped at a New Uses. They didn't have any game related stuff. That's kind of like a general, sort of a pawn shop, but not really. Yeah, kind of a. They don't do loans; they just buy stuff. Like a general use store. I mean, they don't have a lot of game stuff. It would be like the Target of used stuff. I mean, they have tables and they're kind of a chain. I don't know if you know, like Once Upon a Child and Plato's Closet. That's part of that same group. They instead of buying clothes, they buy just stuff. So I can't remember what their teen shop was. Was that Plato's Closet? Oh, okay. We bought Chris's wife a painting of a chicken in a kilt. That was the highlight of my day. Yeah. Moving on. We hit another half price books down on Bryce Road in the southeast side of town. Westerville's in the northeast side of town, by the way, not northwest. Now that I'm saying that, my east and west I'm getting dyslexic with that. That particular half price. What did I get? Oh, crap. I was going to pick up Surf Ninjas for the Game Gear, but then I already had that. And then I picked up something else instead. Oh, and I will say, one nice thing about Half Price was I was getting really bad cell signal, and Half Price has free Wi-Fi, and that was actually really, really nice. Like, I really appreciate the places that offer free Wi-Fi. What did I get there? Oh, yeah, I got an N64 controller for said with the joystick replacement thing, so not to give away my secrets, but we're gonna start buying up inexpensive N64 controllers and replacing the sticks and sell them. Why not? And we're doing a public a service here. I think it's not just out of greed. Well, and plus as we're going to shows and stuff, that'll help to pay for our tables. The podcast needs some money. We're not gonna make a killing off this. But yeah, we don't advertise or anything. So I eat the $200 in web hosting, and Chris, he sends out T-shirts to all of our guests, and he eats all of that out of his pocket. So yeah. Hopefully, some of the refurb stuff we can do will help to repay some. Yeah, we are going to be at Korg's in May, so stop by and maybe buy an N64 controller or play one of our tournaments for $1 and help us out, say hi, and all that happy stuff. We'll probably have some of the gear too, so if you want to be on the podcast, record a little clip or whatnot, we'll definitely have some stuff out there for that. Yeah. We didn't pick up anything in half price either, like Becky and I. We just got some Thin Mints because the Girl Scouts were there. So then we went down to the buybacks on South Hamilton. Different style of neighborhood, different style of game. I picked up Adventures to Go on the PSP for $5. Honestly, I don't think I've ever finished a game on the PSP, but I guess there are a lot of JRPGs on there, and I'm not the biggest fan of JRPGs, but at $5, I know that these things are going to be going away soon. Give it about 2-3 years, you're not going to find them anywhere. So I'll pick them up at this price now. This is the time to pick them up. Yeah, I was going to say, almost any JRPG is worth $5. Nothing else. They're usually low printing, so it's just kind of cool. It's like a tactical RPG. Stupid anime boy, stupid anime girl, blah, blah, blah. I bet you the boy has trouble getting up in the morning. And he's going to go off a quest to save the world all of a sudden. All right, okay. So at that one, I picked up Goofy's Hysterical History Tour for the Genesis. It doesn't look that hysterical. Then I got, so we decided we're going to try to collect as many digital pinball games as we can. I picked up Pro Pinball Fantastic Journey. I like that series. And Austin Powers Pinball. No, I don't like that one. Promises to be horrible. They did another one too, wasn't there? Like a Dr. Evil Pinball too. It's ridiculously bad. But the Pro Pinball series isn't that bad. I kind of liked them. They're kind of like Zen Pinball before Zen Pinball. Yeah, no, definitely. So I'd put them in that range. I missed a spot. Before we hit that, we hit one of the Game On stores, which is Brandon's Video Game Exchange, and then there was another name for them. And Depot. Game Depot. So they all kind of combined forces to come up with this super Voltron of game stores in Columbus, and they now have 7 locations, and they have their own discount card for $10, which I picked up today. It's called a Game On. Wayne's World. You're doing Mike Myers with the Austin Powers, so why not do Mike Myers with the Wayne's World references? What did I get? I don't think I got anything at that particular store. I think
I did. I picked up 2 more of the Pro Pinball games. I got like the original Pro Pinball, and then I got the Pro Pinball Big Race USA. And I also got, for the DS, 300 Top Recipes, America's Test Kitchen, Let's Get Cooking.
It's got Nintendo points, dude.
Yeah, it does. And it's actually touch generations. I mean, it's first party.
Although,
what I don't know is I have the other cooking game they did for the DS. Not a game. It's just like a recipe compilation. But one of the 2 of these has, I don't remember the name of it offhand, but the Game & Watch game in it where you have to like juggle the flapjacks or whatever. It's probably called Flapjack.
Sounds sexual.
I don't know. So I didn't know if it was this one or not. It was $3. I mean, all 3 of these were $3. So
yeah,
like,
shit. If you get the 20 or 30 Club Nintendo points, which they're getting a lot more strict about those too, but for $3, it's worth the risk. Let's see here. Then we hit the other Game On location down on South High Street near 270 and High Street. This one was called Brandon's Game Exchange for a while. They had some. Their store is really busy. They had a big giant rack of N64 games, so I dove in and picked up Lode Runner 3D. So I'm kind of nervous about this. I'm not even a big Lode Runner fan, but for $5, I figure it's worth the shot to mess around with. What else did I get there? Oh yes, Task Force for the Atari 2600, the Froggo Classic. I say that. Spent 20. This was my biggest spend of the day, by the way. So it's a lot of little nicks, and I didn't spend any big money. This is ridiculous because this game is terrible. Anything Froggo is fucking awful. But I did spend a little bit of coin on that thing. Anything else at that particular one? I don't think so. I think. Oh no, yes, toys for the Sega Genesis. Really shitty formal rental copy with lots of labels on it. Kind of embarrassing, actually, but I have the box. And at this point in the game, Genesis box games are drying up. Like the desert, wish the rain. And Davis Cup Tennis for the Sega Genesis for $5. And this was complete. So I kind of like tennis games now, even though I'm not really good at any other than Virtua Tennis. But, they're more fun than, like, Madden. You get anything there?
Yeah, so I got Kiss Pinball.
Kiss Pinball with no Kiss songs.
Yeah, there's
the
no
only thing that
Kiss
they
songs in
licensed
it.
out is Gene Simmons' tongue.
Oh, it's horrible. I got for the DS, Prince of Persia: The Fallen King, which looks like a super deformed Prince of Persia game, which looks really good. Actually, I remember I wanted this for a while. I was actually surprised I didn't have it. It was like $5, so I picked it up. And then I got this at the last Game On, but I'll just go ahead and mention it now. We got Mole Mania, which is a first-party game. Steve was telling me that it's by the same team that did the Wario? One of the Wario games? Is that what he said? I don't remember.
Yeah.
He said it might have even been Miyamoto. I don't remember.
Mole Mania.
It's a first-party one. It's supposedly pretty good, so we picked that up. And I do have to, now don't get me wrong, I do like Game On. It's not too bad of a store, but I have to give them the award for $5 combat cards, because it looks like their minimum price for anything is like $5. So there was a giant bin of Atari games, and there were probably 20 combat cards in it, and all 20 of them were $5. So you win the $5 combat card award of the day.
They'll probably have presents at Korg's, and I'll see if I can talk to him about picking up some of those combats for a lot cheaper than $5 off of them.
Maybe they'll cut you a deal, sell them for $3.
Fuck that. Let's see. After that, we hit kind of nice to catch up with Bert at Video Games Express. Bert used to own a store across from our former employer back in the late '90s, and he has one store left in Grove City, and he's moved that store, and it's the first time I went to the new location. And like always, Crazy Bert has really good deals on his stuff. This is where I went a little crazy. They had a bunch of N64 games, 3 for $10. So I picked up Beetle Adventure Racing, Ken Griffey Jr. MLB, and Wave Race 64 for $3.33 each. You don't find N64 games that cheap, except for sports games. I know Griffey's is a sports game, but I don't think you find that one for 99 cents anywhere. I picked up Super Space Invaders for $20 for the Sega Master System. This is an import, never seen it before. Interested to see how this plays out.
I would have totally picked that up if you hadn't gotten to it first.
That's a really good deal for an import game. Not excessive at all. I picked up a Sony 4-player adapter, PlayStation 1 for $4. I've been looking for a couple of those recently, and the cheapest ones I've been finding are 10. So finding one under 5 was a good find. I could have probably bought a lot more stuff there if we didn't have other places to go, but it was nice to see Burton. He's still in business, and he's the best deal in town, honestly.
Yeah, and I mean, I think he runs one of the best stores in town. I mean, he's super nice. His prices are really good, are really fair, and he's been in it so long. I mean, it's like second nature to him. I mean, he just knows what he's doing.
He's clear on the other side of town for us. We don't get to see him that often, so it's good to know that he's still there, and maybe we'll get off our butts and get down there more often than once every 2 years.
Yeah, we need to make a point to do that. We might even need to try to even get him on a show just to talk about some of the crazy stuff. Because he's bought out other stores, and at one point he ran like 9 stores in town. Yeah. And I bet he's got some amazing stories, actually.
Probably.
Okay, so we kind of went nuts at this place. And I do have to admit that, if there's a place where I'm going to just make,
this is the find of the day, folks.
Yeah, like if I'm going to make a split decision, like splurge thing, it's going to be with Bert. And so we walked in, and Becky freaked out as soon as we got in, because he had a whole thing of Nintendo and Friends pins. I don't remember these, but this is the second set we saw today. We saw a set at Ultimate Video Game Collection that wasn't for sale, and then we saw the set here that was for $60, which I thought was actually pretty fair. I mean, it looked like they were pretty old. Unfortunately, just because of the nature of what they are, the colors had faded and stuff. But it was the same way with the ones at Ultimate Video Game Connection.
So what the hell are these?
They're just lapel pins of all the Mario characters and the enemies and stuff like that. Lapel pin.
Lapel pin. In your video game store, you're a goddamn disgrace.
You must wear at least 15 pieces of flair to work at my store.
You're getting your movie quotes mixed up.
I don't know my movies.
Yeah.
All right.
So 15 Nintendo pins.
So they had that. They had a bunch of other stuff, like strawberry shortcake, metal lunchbox, some other just weird stuff. But they had a vintage Pac-Man glass that was in really good condition, the colors weren't faded or whatever. So we got that. We picked up a boxed Centipede board game, which was pretty cool. It looked like it had all the pieces in it. And then the most exciting thing was, and the one that made Becky scream when she walked in, was the Super Mario Brothers 3 McDonald's toys. And it's actually one of the displays that they had in McDonald's with all the toys mounted in it.
I've never seen one of these ever outside of a restaurant.
I was going to say, I haven't seen one.
Even non-video game, just any of these.
Yeah, I saw it when it, in 90, when I was 10 years old, and we went there, and I freaked out, and I've never seen one since. And it's in perfect condition. There's one little bit of the sign on the top, the tape got old, and so it's retaped on. But the rest of it is flawless. All the pieces are in their place.
It's not sun faded. It's not dusty. It's incredible.
And so it was that, and it was one of every one of the Happy Meal boxes at the time with it, and they were in perfect condition. They were never used. It was just they pulled one of each of them that were folded up off and set them off to the side.
You got a picture of it?
I'll put a picture up on the website.
Put it on the Facebook page, yeah.
Yeah, actually, yeah. Go check out the Facebook page. We'll put up a bunch of pictures on the Facebook page today. But that was a splurge. It was $100 for that, and
which is
quite honestly,
if that were on eBay, that would be $500.
Yeah, no, I'm sure it'd be way more than that. And I mean, we're the kind of collectors, we don't buy stuff to resell, so I mean, it's gonna sit in our private collection.
That's way cooler than any fucking Earthbound. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, no, seriously, it was definitely one of the coolest things ever. This is super exciting.
Those are awesome toys too. Those are
they were a lot of fun.
Way better than those Wendy's toys they came out with later.
And apparently, he has the Sonic set.
I'm not gonna buy it. I think you should buy it and have the two together.
No, we don't need it. It's Genesis. If Sonic were on the Nintendo, we would probably be all over it. But
I don't have places.
Genesis.
I don't have $100 to spend on toys I can't play with. Very tempting, but I don't think I could do that. Let's.
And I even like the Genesis, but I have so much fun.
Oh, it's a rivalry.
Throwing stones.
It's kind of funny. There's a new YouTube show I found called a Game Sack, which is kind of the same premise that we do here. One guy's a Nintendo fanboy, the other guy's a Sega fanboy, and They both like both systems, but they poke fun at each other using the marketing slogans and all that kind of stuff. It's well worth watching if you are dialing around the YouTubes. The series of YouTubes. Right, so good thing Bert's still in business. We went over to the Game On store just down the street from Bert's. I found at this particular place a copy of Crackdown for the Genesis, which I already had, but this was in a box. Bad news for the bad guys on the back, and these two totally dudacious dudes on the front. So that was a good deal. What else did I get there? Was it just that? Yeah, because Tatton got a PSP game that I bought for him.
Yeah.
Did you have that, by the way? Did you find out?
Yeah, that's a good question. I need to look and see.
Okay, what is it?
Neverland Card Battles.
Oh, Card Battle.
I can't see it from here. We'll look after we record.
Whatever.
Yeah, that was like $6. Prices on that weren't bad.
No, and they got a 15% off membership card for $10. So it's like the opposite of the GameStop card, which is 10% off for $15.
Yeah.
So
then I also picked up a box copy of Triple Score, 3 games in 1, which is Super Hang-On, World Championship Soccer, and Columns for the Genesis. That was like $5. Wasn't bad at all.
Yeah, that's worth it. Columns is good. It's worth it just for Columns.
Pretty much, I mean, any box Genesis game at this point I'm willing to throw $5 on. It's kind of almost a given.
Let's see. Then we drove up to the buybacks on Georgesville Road. And that was our last stop of the day. Well, no, we stopped at a Half Price Books again, but I don't think we bought anything there, so we can skip that one.
Yeah, just more Doctor Who stuff.
Okay, yeah. So this particular buybacks, I got a few things. I found a League of Pain for the PlayStation 1. Looks totally extreme. Dan Cortez, 1996 sports. Rayman Brain Games for $1.99. I'll let my daughter mess around with that. Pipe Dream 3D. I think I already had this, but just no case before. So now I got the complete copy for $1.99. Totally worth $1.99. Let's see here. Mario Super Sluggers. Tatton got the Greatest Hits version. I wouldn't buy Greatest Hits version. I got a regular version, but I spent twice as much on it. But that's how I rolls. I think that's it. But yeah, that was kind of like the last stop of the day, so I kind of went a little big with that last stop. But again, I think I did about 150 today, which
what did I
had a 200 budget, so I went under budget today.
I thought I bought more than one thing at the second one.
I think you might. It's hard to get. I might have gotten these buyback stuff confused, but
no, I guess I didn't. Oh well, yeah. I guess I just got a copy of GP1 Part 2. It's like a motorcycle racing game for the Super Nintendo. It's $4, but it's made by Atlas, and I like Atlas stuff, so
right,
that was worth it.
I don't get it with the Atlas love.
I like my JRPGs. Atlas is.
You like your JRP motorcycle racing games.
Yeah. So, but that wasn't the last stop. We made one more stop. We went to Super Team Games.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And they are what part? It's like campus area. It's not really. What is it?
Upper Arlington. Upper Arlington, Grandview. Across from where Gula Dog used to be. Sorry.
No, Gula Dog. It's a moment of silence for Gula Dog.
Yeah.
All right, that's enough.
Yeah. They catered our wedding.
I love how you and I both had hot dogs at our weddings. That's awesome.
That sounds awfully gay.
There's nothing not gay about that.
No. We had Gula Dogs at our wedding, and Tatton had Skyline at his wedding, and we ate at Skyline today actually because they had a giant inflatable cheese coney outside of the restaurant. So we stopped at Super Team Games. That was our last stop before heading back, and they were closed. The sign saying "Nice day outside, slow business, enjoy the sunshine." So same deal with Games on Main. We like this guy. Becky used to work with him down in Cincinnati.
Yeah, and Steve really likes the store. I mean, he was the one who really wanted to go and show it to us because we had never been there before, and drive out of our way to go check it out, and closed.
Heartbreaking. This guy knows his stuff too, and
so I mean,
if it closed on a Saturday at 6:00, shit's not going well.
Yeah, I mean, and their hours were like, what, 12 to 8 or something?
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't even close
I think he had like one employee, maybe, if any. So, I understand being tired and wanting time to yourself and stuff, but, Jesus, the game store, you can open at 1:30. get your sleep and get your time in the morning and close at 8 o'clock. I mean,
well, that's the thing. I mean, the more your store is closed, the less money you're going to make because you're not going to sell anything. So
it's depressing, guys. So all in all, good game trip. I don't get to do these that often. I'm a dad. I got a job. This is the only time. This is the last time we haven't done this in months.
It's probably not even been months. I mean, a game trip like this, I think you and I haven't done this in probably like 3 years.
Yeah, we not an all day sort of thing. We'll hit like one store whenever we're hanging out or something. But there's just lots of places I haven't been to, lots of places Tatton hasn't been to, and I think we're going to do the other half of our trip in a couple of weeks or maybe next weekend or something to round out all the places we didn't hit today.
We'll also see if we can get Steve to chime in and maybe just do like a little solo thing, record his his thoughts about everything for the day and go over his stuff. So he got some pretty cool stuff too. Yeah,
absolutely. Because we pointed him to stuff that we liked. We couldn't convince him to buy Ghostbusters for the Genesis because it was slightly wrinkled, but it was $4. That was a fucking great deal.
That was a great deal. Water damage and all, it doesn't matter. Yeah. The cart was flawless.
You can't pass that stuff up.
$4,
son.
That was at a half price too.
Yeah. So, but Tan also bought me some presents, which I'll quickly allude to. He bought me a Dream Flyer for the Dreamcast. Guess you got that in Indiana a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
I have no idea what it is, but it's cheap and it's Dreamcast.
You can send emails from your Dreamcast with it, like little postcards with Sonic characters.
It's got me a Super Real Baseball '88 for the Famicom. The little cartoon guy on the front is just a uniform and an invisible head with eyeballs. It's really fucking weird. And this is the hilarious purchase of the day. Metroid Other M. Brand new for $4.99 from GameStop. I think I'm going to leave the fucking $4.99 sticker on the package because I normally don't do that, but that's hilarious because
ours is still sealed.
Yeah, I think I read that everything I read about this game makes it just god awful.
It's really not that bad. From what I've heard, it's really not that bad. Like I've talked to some people who are actually like pretty big Metroid fans, and they said it's not terrible. They took weird liberties with the story that didn't seem to make sense, but
they made her a whiny bitch.
Yeah, that's really one of the main complaints.
Yeah, they took a badass girl and made her a whiny bitch.
But the game itself, though, they said was really good and a lot of fun. The only complaint that I heard was that, like, missiles, apparently you can't run and fire missiles at the same time.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
I'll have to play it before I can try.
It's probably the epitome of bad storylines in modern gaming all wrapped up into a single $5 disc.
But I mean, respectfully, I mean, it's a 2.5D game, so it plays like a 2D platformer, but it's rendered in 3D.
I'll probably get to it within the next 8 months. Got some Super Space Invaders for the Master System to play, son.
Hells yeah!
All right, so got about 45 minutes.
Yeah, about 46.
That's a good episode. We'll get this up next weekend. Get some pictures up. Say hi to us on our Facebook page. We Twitter too, but I think we basically just Twitter what we Facebook. Come say hi to us in May at Korg's, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, and if you pop by in the stores, tell them that you heard about him from our podcast. Especially Bert. Go see Bert.
Yeah, go see Bert.
Yeah,
we like Bert. Hey, Bert.
Hey, Bert. Well, we'll put Bert's address and stuff in the in our show notes.
Okay. Yeah.
Cool. All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye.
Now you're playing with podcast.
Hey listeners, this is Tatton. Just wanted to take a quick moment and let you know that there's lots of great places you can follow Now You're Playing With Podcast. We have a Facebook page set up, which is Now You're Playing With Fan Page. We have a Twitter account set up, which is NYPW Tweets, or Now You're Playing With Tweets. And, of course, all the episodes are available for download from NowYou'rePlayingWith.com. So we hope you enjoyed the show. If you like it, please take a moment and send us a message. Let us know what you think about it. And we hope to have some more shows coming for you soon. Until then, thanks for listening.
Now you're playing with podcast.